I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I'll make mistakes, but mistakes make you strong.
Hi there. In the movie Wall Street, Gordon Gekko says the famous line, "Greed is good. Greed works." Or actually, he really said,
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
He went on to make the point that greed is a clean driver that captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. And he's quite right. If you don't aspire to anything, you will most certainly never get there. That's also why people like Elon Musk keep saying, people should not want to live forever.
You don't want to live forever so that you can actually get to Mars?
I definitely don't want to live forever.
How many years do you want to live?
I don't know, 100 good ones. 100 good ones in total I think is probably fine, and maybe a bit longer.
If there wasn't anything driving or pushing us towards anything or a finite deadline, we would probably just sit around and do nothing meaningful, looking at TikTok videos all day. Humans need something to strive for. We need to become better humans, at least the majority of us.
Whoa, that was deep, bro.
But why does the title imply that greed is not good? Well, maybe a few stories can help us show why. Did you know that Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger had a third partner? His name was Rick Guerin. Rick Guerin was one of the so-called super investors of the company Graham and Dodswell, which was Warren Buffett's mentor, Benjamin Graham's firm, back in the day. Guerin worked with Munger and Buffett on several great deals, including See's Candy and blue chip stamps.
Well, he was one of my closest friends for many decades, and he was very good company and a splendid gentleman, and of course, we accomplished quite a bit working together. Rick was part of the group which consisted of Warren Buffett, Rick Guerin, and Charlie Munger that bought control of blue chip stamps when it was widely distributed in an antitrust settlement. And we were together in that for a long, long time. And then Rick and I did the Daily Journal together at another occasion. That's the reason he rose so fast in life. He was just so damn smart.
However, Guerin faded into the background in the late 80s. So what happened to Rick Guerin? Well, Warren Buffett told the story once to Mohnish Pabrai. Charlie and I always knew we would become wealthy, so we were not in a hurry and did not take excessive risks. Rick, on the other hand, he was just as smart as us, but he was always in a hurry. And, as it typically happens for the impatient, Rick was levered to the eyeballs with margin loans back in 1973 and 74.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
The stock market went down almost 70% in those 2 years, and he got margin calls out the yin-yang.
I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
Rick ended up selling his Berkshire stock to Warren.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And Rick was forced to sell his shares at a $40 apiece because he was levered and he had to pay the banks now. Today, those shares would be around $500,000. And as Warren Buffett noted in his conversation with Mohnish Pabrai, it was the leverage that forced the sale and exacerbated losses in his portfolio partnership. This violates a key axiom of investing. You need to sell equities when you want to and not when you have to. This use of leverage also lost Guerin the faith and trust of Warren Buffett and Munger, and they parted ways. Guerin's long-term documented results are quite amazing, but he lives on in obscurity. Almost no one has ever heard of him. He could have been the legendary, but his impatience cost him the chance of being on the Mount Rushmore of investing, together with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. What can we learn from this? Well, even though this happened decades ago, the old axioms of greed and impatience live on in the markets. Crypto, meme stock, NFTs, startups, A lot of stuff have seemingly made millionaires overnight. Couple these stories with the virality of social media, and the world seemed full of folks getting rich with little to no effort. This breeds impatience and causes investors to do irrational things to try and catch up, taking too much risk, using leverage and margin, get rich quick schemes, and concentrating assets instead of diversifying. We live in a society that continues to promote instant gratification, but to be a great investor, you need patience and time. As Buffett noted, even a slightly above average investor who spends less than they earn over a lifetime, you cannot help but get rich if you're patient. I just love Morgan Housel's books, The Psychology of Money and the book Same as Ever. He has several stories in them about people many of us never heard about, who were rich beyond belief and managed to throw it all away because of the classic personality traits. The need to look and act rich, spending like crazy, being too greedy, investing with leverage and or high risk, no real plan for the future, no estate or inheritance planning, or lifestyle creep, spending more than anticipated and feeling the need to spend more and more. Lack of diversification, this will hit them hard in hard periods, and no real plan if the shit hits the fan, like emergency funds or backup. The winning mindset is, more than great returns, I want to be financially unbreakable and able to stick around long enough for compounding to work its magic. As Morgan Housel says, plan on the plan not going according to plan. He gives a lot of examples in his books, but the one who really stuck with me was the one of Jesse Livermore. At the age of 30, he was considered one of the best investors with around 100 million in stocks. This was back in 1929, and when the stock market crashed, wiping out almost all investors, Jesse had, in a stroke of luck, decided to short the market, and he made equivalent of $3 billion in one day. After this 1929 blowout, Livermore, overflowing with confidence, made larger and larger bets. He wound up far over his head, increasing amount of debt, and eventually he lost everything in the stock market.
This whole universe is against me!
So even how much you think you're the best, luck might eventually run out, and you could get too cocky and karma hits you back. Just like the hedge fund long-term capital management, it was staffed with traders who were personally worth hundreds of millions of dollars each. Most of their wealth was invested in their own funds. They took so much risk in the quest for more that they managed to lose everything, and this was back in 1998, in the middle of the greatest bull market and the strongest economy in history. Warren Buffett later put it, to make money they didn't have and didn't need, they risked what they did have and did need. If you risk something that is important to you for something that is unimportant to you, it just does not make any sense. So what's the point of this video about greed? Well, greed is good in small amounts. You need to be realistic and realize that living frugally, investing consistently, preferably in low-cost ETF or a mix of ETFs, and maybe garner it with a few great companies, might be a lot better than YOLOing in some meme stock or the shiny new thing, with the risk of losing everything you worked hard for. When you have a stable base and make more money than you can spend, then you can use some of those expendable funds speculating in something. But don't be so greedy that you risk losing the foundation of your wealth.
This is your wake-up call, pal. Go to work.
And remember, the best investment you can do is in you. The more you learn, the more you earn. Bye.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I'll make mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting.